Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 1st meeting of the Mount Vernon Board of Education. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. McCormick, will you please call the pledge?
Good evening, everybody. Trustee Red.
Present.
Trustee Turnquist.
Present.
Trustee Mitchell. Trustee Patterson.
Present.
Trustee McOwen.
Present.
Trustee White.
Present.
Trustee Saunders. Trustee Miller.
Present.
A quorum is present, ma'am.
Great. First off, I'd like to, well, I guess we should do communications from the public first. So do we have any
I
communication?
believe we have one speaker, Clarissa Keith.
Is Clarissa Keith here? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I felt compelled to come speak before the board on how CSEA employees were not treated as a valued employee of the district during the return of the opening. The clerical staff was requested to come and count election votes during COVID. I didn't understand that. The PPEs were not in the buildings before returning for students to return. Some buildings receive PPEs to cover their entire counter, where other buildings did not. I had to email a number of times just to receive that because I didn't understand where was the difference. The district office was closed to the public when the rest of the district buildings were not. Then, at one point, the district office had a sign, you had to make an appointment to enter the district office. However, other buildings did not. Where is the difference between one building and another when we are all one district? The custodial hours were changed to 12 to 9 when these employees are dealing with the same issues as others, as we all are. With COVID, it has changed tremendously a lot of our lives. We have lost family members. We are having to care for family members. We have to take on more financial responsibilities because of COVID. Family members have lost their jobs. With these hours, how is it possible for the CSEA members to, even if they need to take on another job, they could not? Also, a lot of the CSEA members are parents. They are now having to entrust in someone else to raise their children and their parents. What parents do not want to raise their own child and make sure that they're eating properly, they're being placed and tucked in the bed, and they're there for their child? This is not fair. The CSEA has been taken over by administration. Via email, I was informed that the district was informed as of March 23rd of 21. However, the past unit president, Sean Peterson, received an email inviting him to discuss the 21-22 school calendar, which I don't understand. He is no longer the unit president. The administration has taken over civil service, but yet he was invited to speak and come and sit and discuss the calendar for the following school year for CSEA. Unfortunately, the integrity of Mr. Peterson was not there, because had he had integrity, he would have informed.
We can't mention people's names.
Okay, I'm sorry. Our past unit president did not state that he was no longer had authority to make any decisions for CSEA. However, when I did find this information out, I came over to the district office and spoke to the secretary of that department, in which they were authorized to send that information to the administration. However, nothing was done because the calendar was voted on without a CSEA signature, which once again shows us, the CSEA department, that we mean really nothing to the district, because for the past years, it's always been a signature from each unit, each union.
Could you kind of try to summarize, because we are already over time, so would you mind just, you've already had.
Okay, is my 2 minutes up?
Yes.
Okay,
Actually,
then
4
thank you.
minutes.
Okay, but thank you for your time. I just wanted to make the
Absolutely.
district aware.
Okay,
No problem.
thank you
so
very much. Thank you.
Madam President, may I respond to that?
Yes, and
Good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm not here. As you know, I am recovering from knee surgery, but I'm with you in spirit.
the voice.
Firstly, Mrs. Liz Keith, I don't know what that means. Administration has not taken over CSEA. We have no interest in running CSEA, and there's no evidence or no action that has been taken or decision made by administration to take over CSEA. Secondly, I understand there is a considerable upheaval or turmoil within the association, and that the state leadership has stepped in to try to navigate and facilitate whatever dissension may be going on within the group. But that has nothing to do with the district, the board, or the administration. We had no input in that whatsoever. Our goal was to have representation on the calendar by someone representing CSEA. If there is a grievance that is something that the association feels has been a violation of any negotiated bargaining agreement, those procedures for expressing that grievance still exist. That has not changed. The agreement has not changed at all, even though there's been change in the leadership within the group. And I do need to go on record that there has not been a single complaint by any association, the administrators group, the teachers group, or CSEA, that PPE was appropriate or sufficient PPE was not provided at the building level. If that is the case, this is the absolute first that I am hearing of that. So I just wanted to clarify that. And the state representatives or whoever is currently in leadership of the association can certainly follow the procedures in the agreement relative to filing and or advancing any breach or grievance. And I'll be more than glad to try to facilitate and navigate that. In terms of the hours, yes, the schools are a little different than central office because we don't service children. So parents need to be able to have access to the building. They need to be able to get in. But it is not true that the schools were not encouraged to ask parents to make appointments to get in the building, because I've seen that signage to that effect in many of our buildings. So I just need to clarify that for the record.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hamilton. No. But follow up with,
Please follow up with Dr. Hamilton if you have, first follow up with your union, but follow up with Dr. Hamilton if you had any further questions. Okay? Sure. Is that any other
That
communication?
concludes communications from the public.
Okay, a couple things I probably should have mentioned at the beginning. One is that Dr. Hamilton is here, not physically, but he is present at the meeting. We all hope he recovers soon. I know he is. The other thing is that we have a new face at our table, and that is trustee-elect Candace Sorensen, who was just recently elected to school board to a 3-year term. She will be officially sworn in on July 6th at our reorganization meeting. But she is, as is our practice with trustees-elect, she is welcome to sit at the table and start to get her feet wet with procedures and processes, and we will be taking her through a full orientation as soon as we can make our schedules work. So anyway, congratulations to Candace and welcome to you. We look forward to working with you. Another point, and we can talk about this more later, is that Trustee Crump, Brenda Crump, who has served the school district for many years, did tender her resignation recently, and her seat, and it's effective today, June 1st, because of personal reasons. She had to resign her seat. She couldn't give her all, which is all Mrs. Crump ever gave, was her all. She couldn't give her all to her school board responsibilities, so she did resign her seat. So as of tomorrow, we have an open seat, and we have options about, what we can do. And I guess we could talk about that during new business tonight. We could briefly, if anyone has any questions about what the process is and what we can and cannot do. Well, we don't really have to do anything, but anyway, just wanted to mention that. And that's it for now. So Dr. Hamilton, Superintendent's report.
Yes, good evening again, and welcome, Mrs. Sorensen. Sorry I am not here to officially welcome you, but I look forward to working with you, and congratulations on your election to this incredible group of people with whom I have a pleasure of working. There are a couple of things I'd like to just bring to your attention this evening by way of the superintendent's report. There are two tabs that raised some question during the tab review session with the president and vice president. One refers to the IB Summer Bridge program, which I'm going to ask Dr. Gorman to speak to momentarily, and the second is the Smart Scholar program, which Dr. BC will speak to. I'd also like to put on your radar that the Mount Vernon City School District is pleased to announce that we will be commemorating Juneteenth this year with a variety of instructional activities. Although this historic day is formally celebrated on Saturday, the schools preceding the Juneteenth will have a complete teach-in around Juneteenth and what it means, so that our students are aware, our staff members are well informed, and there will be a celebration of literature around Juneteenth, including use of videos, Juneteenth, what it means and why we celebrate it, explaining what Juneteenth means in our history, why we honor it, and why all Americans should honor Juneteenth. For some of our younger students, it will include coloring and poster contests, including research on Juneteenth's significance, a comparison and contrast of Juneteenth and the 4th of July celebrations, and why those two events are distinct in our history, and a review of Frederick Douglass's speech with comprehensive questions related to why that speech is so important, and a visit to a virtual tour of a gallery here in our own community that explores African American culture. So we are very excited about this opportunity, and next year Juneteenth is recognized on the official calendar that has already been approved by the board. We will also be providing the board with a bond update at the June 15th meeting. The 2016 bond is effectively complete. We will be sharing with the board which punch list items are remain to be resolved, any matters that are still pending, and reserves that we still have. And by all accounts, we remain under budget and look forward to sharing that information with you in a full presentation at the June 15th meeting. And for some of our new trustees, you may not be very familiar with the small city schools lawsuit, but we've been engaged in this lawsuit since I've been in the district. And we have some great news. The appellate court, 3rd Division, unanimously found each plaintiff district has demonstrated a violation of the New York State Constitution as it relates to pertains to at-risk student populations. And if you will recall, I gave testimony on behalf of small schools, and we received notice over the weekend that this decision has been upheld, and we should anticipate increased funding as a constitutional right that cannot be taken away by the governor. And we expect that we will see an increase in our allocations based on this new decision. So more information will be shared with you, but this is hot off the presses, and I could not wait to share this with you.
That's great.
Hallelujah.
Great news.
That's great news. And we have, before we get to the MBK presentation, Dr. Gorman, I'm going to ask you to speak to your tab. I'm not sure which number it is now, because I know some things switched, were moved around. But specifically, Dr. Gorman, if you can speak to the IB Summer Bridge program.
It's under HR, so it's,
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Just briefly, I think Dr. Hamilton wanted me to elaborate on the IB Summer Bridge. It's the first that we're doing in the district, and it is our first group that is progressing through the IB program. And if you recall, one of the major projects in the IB program is a 4,000-word extended essay. So needless to say, this is not an easy task. It is incredibly rigorous, and that's why they give dual credit at many colleges for that type of coursework. It really requires additional staff to work individually, coach the kids, go through the theses, the proposals, what the whole essay is about, and really help them fine-tune their thinking. And actually, to not give them that support would almost set the kids up for failure. So that's why there's additional staff this summer that might not be directly proportionate to the teaching of the Bridge program that we added.
How many students, Dr. Gorman, are registered?
I do believe there are 63 students in all.
Okay.
thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Gorman. And Dr. BC, Smart Scholars Program also board leadership had questions about that I think the whole board could benefit from.
Yes. This is a program that we had with Concordia. And when Concordia closed, we went to Mercy. So we are now fully with Mercy. And it's 75 kids per year. So it's going to be 150 kids this year who has to do the Bridge program. And we are very happy to know that our kids are marching along, and they are doing very well. We had 100% attendance last summer, and I think we're going to have the same thing this summer. And those teachers are also going to be trained by the college so that they can become adjunct professors to teach those courses in the high school, so that when they graduate, they will graduate with at least a certain amount of credits that they can get either associate or they can do 2 years of their college while they are here. So that is what that program is all about.
Great. And 150, so I mean 75 who are going into it and 75 who will be in it.
Exactly.
It's excellent.
So we have 2 years.
That's great. And I'm glad that Mercy was able to step in. You were able to get them to step in.
Yes, and fast. I have to give them credit because I was going to go with Lehman, but it takes a long time, and I did not want to lose out. So we went with Mercy, and Mercy just jumped right in. And I have to say thank you to Dr. Gabitan because she teaches at Mercy, and she helps us to get everything going. So thank you, Dr. G.
Thank you. That's great. That's great, because I know that was very sudden, what happened with Concordia.
Yes, but you know what? We never give up.
I know that.
And you don't want to be part of it, but they are just beginning to find their way because they are working out some kinks with with college that, with Concordia at this point in time. But everything was going too slowly for me.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
And lastly, as part of the superintendent's report, we'd like to give you an update and a brief presentation on My Brother's Keeper, just to keep you in the loop on what's going on, how our students are being represented. I have to tell you that we have such extraordinary young people representing our district. I have heard our students speak. I have heard them share their various views and their position on issues as part of the Nbk initiative. and I will tell you that I have not been so proud to hear our students speak and the way they have represented our district and held their own, even against some other speakers and students from other communities, other districts. Our students have just been phenomenal representatives for our district, and I want to applaud and salute them. And I want to also acknowledge Brother Muhammad for being the liaison for our district and this initiative. So without further ado, Brother Muhammad.
Greetings of peace to everyone. I'm going to pass the mic at this time to Dr. Gabaton, who works with me, with my brother's keeper as well, and then I'll come on after. Doc.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So, it's been a privilege working with my brother's keeper. These young men, they do whatever I ask. From calling them at 9 o'clock and say, I need you to be on a Zoom call with a Board of Regents, they get on. It was a privilege to hear one of our students speak right after President Obama at the symposium. He was poised. It's amazing. They have represented Mount Vernon City School District very well. So I would like to introduce you tonight to our current Nbk Fellows, Martinez John Claude and Ariel Luces. Martinez will be going to Emory University in the fall on a full scholarship, and Ariel will be going to NYU with a $70,000 a year scholarship. So these young men are asked to do some amazing things. They read 3 books this fall. James Baldwin's book, which they went and discussed among, the Secretary of Education, the Chancellor, among many people. They took part in a mastermind where they learned how to do a TED-style conversation. And it was at that TED style that Martinez presented after our superintendent, and our former president. And I'm going to let Martinez first speak about his experience.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So my experience in Nbk, so it started off, I am a 2020 Nbk fellow. It started off a rough year, as you know, COVID, and I didn't get to have the normal Nbk experience that everyone has had before me. So we were able to converse on Zoom, and despite the psychological and mental challenges that COVID had, we were able to transpire again, above that, and we were able to become who we are today. We gained so much insight from Nbk, from the mastermind meetings and everything of the sort. Another thing that we're doing right now is we're doing a service project. The service project is based on gardening. So in Mount Vernon, as you know, there's not a lot of gardening or anything of the sort. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve the oxygen intake in Mount Vernon, as well as help fight food insecurity, because as you know, there are GMOs in various foods, and there are cans and all that. So we are trying to build this community up from the ground and build the proper food source for everyone in this community. Thank you.
Excellent.
Now I would like to introduce Ariel Luces.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, my name is Ariel Luces. I'm a senior at the Denzel Washington School of the Arts. I'm also one of the 2020 Nbk Fellows. I was mentored by Mr. Gori, who was very inspirational and guided me through my process. I joined this program in this year very late. However, with my shortened experience, I have learned so much that facilitated my growth both professionally and personally. Throughout my time as an Nbk Fellow, I had the opportunity to take part of an activity called Mastermind, in which I read various books such as The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin, When I Was Puerto Rican, written by Esmeralda Santiago, and Broken Bread by Atticus Torrance. Overall, we had valuable discussions regarding the characters and the prevailing themes in each book. Studying these works of literature, I was able to learn about the different experiences characters encountered, which helped me to navigate my own life and how to successfully overcome challenges by being resilient, steadfast, and dedicated. We have also offered public speaking training. Recently, I attended the Nbk Symposium for 2 days, and the objectives were to inspire, inform, and empower. There were several speakers such as the New York State Commission of Education, New York State Majority Senate Leader, and one of our honored former President, Barack Obama. I have gained so much nuggets and words of wisdom. One that resonates with me is that it's important to use positive thoughts and state affirmations because it will give you power to succeed. But in order to succeed, you need to know your life purpose, know what distinguishes you from the rest of the world, and going through a process of self-reflection, self-assessment, self-adjustment, and self-improvement. After the symposium, I was truly inspired, informed, and empowered. It was a pleasure to serve as a 2020 Nbk Fellow for the Mount Vernon City School District. I can assure you with my experience and the valuable lessons I've learned will guide me as I continue my education at NYU this upcoming fall. Nbk gave me the foundational skills and the competence I need to be continually relevant, effective, and the next leader to inspire others. Thank you.
As I say, our boys well represent the Mount Vernon City School District. With that, it is my honor to present the third class of Nbk Fellow, the 2021-2022 Nbk Fellow from Denzel Washington, John Hayden Harvey, and from Mount Vernon STEAM Academy, Deshaun Rockwell.
Good evening, members of the school board and school board trustees. My name is Johnny N. Harvey. I'm a junior at the Denzel Washington School of the Arts and a newly inducted Nbk Fellow of the class of 2021-2022. I'm here today personally to thank you for allowing me to be part of such an important program, a program that allows me to reach out to my community and raise awareness of the disparities inside of it. And finally, I'd just like to say that I look forward to carrying on the legacy entrusted to me by my previous fellows. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Deshaun Wallen. I'm representing the third class of Nbk. I'm representing Mount Vernon STEAM Academy, and I'm very glad to be here. I'm beyond proud to be chosen, and I'm ready to make a change in any way I can.
Great.
Come on, we could do better than that. This is the type of excellence that the Nbk Fellows instills in our young men. And to my two brothers that are going off to college, I want to thank you for enduring during this COVID era. It was a little bit difficult. However, just carry the legacy, and no matter where you go, let them know you're from Mount Vernon.
That's right.
With that being said, I just want to let the board know, and maybe we can deal with it more in depth at another time, but that the Nbk Gardens are in full effect. We personally, through Nbk, have put together 4 strong gardens in Parker, Williams, Pennington, as well as Lincoln. We're using the greenhouse in Lincoln, and you got to see the pictures, and eventually you have to taste the food. But I thank you for the support of Dr. Hamilton, of course, Dr. BC, and the board. God bless you. Good evening.
Thank you, Brother.
To Dr. Gabatone and, thank you, Rick. To Dr. Gabatone and Brother Muhammad, Dr. BC, thank you to our young fellows. These fellows have just done such an extraordinary job, as you can see, representing the district, and they are doing some great things. I mentioned to you one of our students who was accepted into the Harvard pre-med program as a junior, and that's Johnny, who we spoke this evening, who I am proud to be working with and continue to support and try to mentor him as best as I can. I actually learned from him, frankly. But we have some extraordinary students in our district and must continue to give them the opportunity to celebrate and speak and share, so that they also get the limelight that they so deserve. So salute to those who are leading this initiative for us, but most importantly, salute to our young men for being such extraordinary examples. That concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Hamilton. Two things I'd like to say to these young men. Please come back. Please come back to Mount Vernon. We will always welcome you with open arms, and we'll always welcome your help and your assistance, because we'll be learning along the way in college. We're very proud of you. Secondly, on this small city lawsuit, school district lawsuit, this is so huge. And I want to thank the administration. Dr. Hamilton has really worked tirelessly, as have our legal counsel, but Dr. Hamilton has really represented Mount Vernon in an exemplary way in terms of advocating for our district, for fairness, as has Mr. Silver on the financial front with his contacts at the state, and of course Dr. Bennett Conroy, who reels in money like from places. It's just unbelievable. She's always getting more and more for our students. But I really want to thank the administration for their tireless effort in sticking with this. I want to thank the board for sticking with this, because this has been a lawsuit where every year it's like, how much are we spending on this? Do we really want to be doing this? Well, you know what? We stuck with it, and the right thing happened, and justice is prevailing. So it should all give us a little bit of hope that if we just keep fighting for what's right, good things will happen. So I'm just absolutely thrilled with that news. It's just great. I'd like to move to committee reports. Does anyone have anything they would like to share at this point? Mame? Yeah. Sorry, I can't see you through the plexiglass.
This on? Yeah, okay.
Speak up.
So we found out today, so the STEAM graduation, Mount Vernon STEAM Academy, is in about 3 weeks. It's on June 21st. And a lot of the students were up at arms about how it's gonna transpire, because we're hearing there's gonna be like a drive-through like the high and like how they did last year. But we feel that since this is the first graduating class of STEAM, since it's the last year of Principal Bradley, that we really want a sit-down graduation. And I know it's gonna be difficult because of COVID protocols and how Bradley wants us to have it at STEAM, but we could do it at the high, we could do it at Thornton, we could rent out a place, because, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Governor Cuomo said effective May 1st, if you have above 150 people in an indoor place, you can rent out a place for like 10% of the capacity. So it's gonna be expensive, but if we don't do the higher Thornton, we could rent out a place, because we really, really want, especially how special this year and after all we've been through with COVID and all that, and how special this class, specifically this class is, we wanna have a sit-down graduation. So it's a suggestion, but we would really like that if that's possible.
How many students are graduating in your class, Mame?
110, I believe.
110. Dr. Gorman?
Yep, the protocols are changing as we speak, and we sort of anticipated this, but every couple of weeks, things change. I have been in contact, not specifically with Ms. Bradley, but I'll follow up tomorrow with administration there. The high school is already making plans to do more of a traditional graduation because they're getting the same outcry. So we're in constant flux and change. I will speak to your building leadership tomorrow.
And I don't disagree with you, Mame. I actually have asked Dr. Gorman to meet with the building principals and share the most recent guidance on in-person events. They are literally changing daily. I've had 3 meetings literally in the last week on this topic, and asking the commissioner for very specific guidance, because the fines for operating outside that guidance is significant, and we certainly don't want to put the district in that position. So I agree with you. This is a very special year for our STEAM students and for Mrs. Bradley, and we certainly do want you to get everything that you should in order to make this experience as memorable as possible, as pleasantly memorable as possible. So we will work in collaboration with the building principals in order to make that happen for you to the extent that we can.
Thank you.
Anything else? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. And I would love to be there in person to shake your hand congratulate you. Okay. Anyone else? Trustee McGowan?
We had a policy committee meeting this afternoon, just with the superintendent, and went over the current draft of a new policy to update the efforts at diversity and inclusion district-wide. That includes both personnel issues, curriculum issues, hiring vendors and contractors, et cetera. So it's going to be a consolidated policy that kind of brings together what do we currently have, several different policies into one, and try and be a little bit more uniform about it. We will have a first draft ready for first read next meeting. We were hoping to have it on for tonight. We have a little bit more work to do with the legal team and with NSBA before we're ready for a first draft. Quite honestly, the sample policies that we've gotten so far from NSBA and other districts are not really as progressive as I think they should be, honestly, and not consistent with some of the outcry and demand we're hearing from the community, and I think we can do better. And so we're exploring the kind of how far we can push this issue legally and make sure that we are at the forefront of this effort among school districts and not lagging 5 or 10 years behind. So more at the next meeting.
Trustee McGowan, are we adding, one of the things I was thinking about based on something I read, I think it was in our newsletter that we get as trustees, was about adding something about access to technology for our students in our policy?
We had not talked about that specifically, no. I mean, we have a separate policy just about access to technology.
Okay.
But I hadn't thought about the intersection with that.
It's something that if you get on board, which is it's a newsletter from NSBA that we get sent to us occasionally. I don't even know what the frequency is, but there was a very interesting article about the intersectionality of, the equity and access to technology is really very important. And if there's a way we can have that in our diversity, equity, and inclusion policy, I think it would be a great thing to memorialize in that as well. But that's just one person, but it's just a thought I have.
Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Turnquest Jones.
Good evening, everyone. So I just wanted to report that Trustee Patterson, Trustee Mitchell, and myself attended the Stop the Violence sessions that they've been having in Mount Vernon. It's because of our concern for our children to be safe on the streets and us in changing the narrative. So with that said, there's two things that's going to happen. Two things going to happen. One thing that happened already. I've been passing out these booklets right here. So these booklets are from the Youth Bureau. And the reason why I pass them out is because we want to make sure that we continually connect the arteries of Mount Vernon. And in this booklet, you will find a plethora of programs that are in Mount Vernon and outside of Mount Vernon for our Mount Vernon young learners and young readers. This, in the meantime, between time, just hoping that we will be able to showcase these programs on our website. And so I spoke to the director, Debbie, and she's supposed to reach out to Mr. McCormick as well as Dr. Kenneth Hamilton in regards to posting the electronic version of this booklet. Right? And so, again, we're talking about connecting the arteries. And last but not least, out of that meeting also came where we will be having a Let's Talk Mount Vernon. It's for our youth. So I hope the Mount Vernon, the Nbk brothers will be there because Brother Arthur Muhammad is also on the venue. And I will be a moderator. And I just asked if Ma May would please join me with being a moderator as well, because this is about the youth, and if the youth are not there, then it's not going to work. And so that event is going to take place in Mount Vernon on June 14th, 2021, June 14th, 2021, at 38 South 2nd Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York. And it's at 7 p.m. And we will be talking about the youth and the youth forum. And the youth forum is what we're having here in Mount Vernon.
Excellent, thank you.
Trustee TJ, if you would send that to me, please, I'd appreciate it. I'd like to add that to my calendar.
Okay, no problem.
Additionally, as I think we've mentioned at previous board meetings, we are going to be embarking on a redesign of our website, and that this would be absolutely one of the most important things that we would have for people to see when they first come on: services, opportunities and services for our youth in Mount Vernon. So that's great. And that's a no-brainer. Great, thank you. Trustee Patterson, do you have something you'd like to share?
I don't. We had we haven't had a budget committee, but we had an insurance committee meeting recently. And just to give everyone a heads up, the process is arduous and painful. I mean, it's moving, but it's really it's quite a situation. I don't know for everyone who doesn't deal with insurance every day, but COVID has thrown all insurance into this big vat of like uncertainty. And what's happened is everybody has seen, to some extent, insurance policies go from 1,000 to 4,000, which has really effectively made a lot of companies almost put them out of business. So we're really we're working with all of our consultants to ensure that our insurance costs are not going to see that jump. And we should have something to present for next meeting. And we'll have something to present for next meeting.
I would like to, since I sat in on that insurance meeting, I would say it made my hair go on fire spontaneously, because it's just so hard and complicated, and I really want to thank Trustee Patterson for being on top of this. She has expertise in this area, and it really is helpful to us, because it's a tough market, and it's hard to understand on a good day, so thank you very much. Additionally, and this will be new information to our newest, our trustee-elect Sorensen. We have a process that we've mentioned at a couple of other board meetings. We have a thing that we do to try to move conversations along and keep them focused. And we have a little, a mascot that we use for that. You want to hold that up, Trustee Patterson? And this is Elmo. We all know who Elmo is, but Elmo, ELMO, also stands for enough, let's move on. And it's a nice way, we learned in a board retreat, it's a nice way to say to someone, and especially on Zoom meetings, you know, we're getting a little bit off topic here, because we always have a pretty full agenda, and everyone has a lot of great ideas, but sometimes we just have to kind of rein it in and stay focused to get through our, you know, the issues at hand, the most important priorities at hand. So Trustee Patterson and I were talking about this, and so she went and took it upon herself to get everybody an Elmo. So she has an Elmo for all our board members. And, you know, we use Elmo very judiciously, but it can be helpful. But she felt it was important, and I think it's great to empower every trustee to have their own Elmo. You can even feel free to use them with your own families. You never know. So anyway, she's going to pass them out. But thank you, Trustee Patterson, for thinking of us and for helping us keep ourselves in line. Trustee Red.
Yes, I'd like to add that Trustee Mitchell and I attended Rebecca Turner School last week. And thanks to Mr. Policio for assisting us and his head custodian, Jeffrey, who walked us through the building. We were able to talk to the teachers and happened to speak to Principal Doggett, who was there, who welcomed us. He was a great guy. And we're going to be continuing doing some rounds in the next future, in the future.
Great, thank you very much. Trustee White.
No, that was my team.
Right, yeah, right. Buildings and grounds and facilities, I know.
That's right.
He's building an empire.
Right,
Okay, I
yes,
understand now. I understand. And Trustee-elect Sorensen, would you like to share anything with us or with the community at large, now that you're almost fully ensconced?
Not really. I just want to say thank you for the warm welcome, and I am definitely ready to get the ball rolling and start working to make our schools much better than what they are already. So.
Great. Thank you. One thing I wanted to mention that kind of piggybacks on community involvement in an interesting way is that I had a couple of calls over the weekend from some people in the citizens in the Pennington area complaining about young people. They're all younger than I am, so the young people, they were allegedly in their 20s or 30s, smoking pot, drinking, and playing basketball in the basketball courts at Pennington. So one of the things that so first of all, as we discussed a couple meetings ago when we were at the high school, our facilities are basically open from dawn to dusk. And basketball courts, et cetera, are basically open. Our tennis courts are open to the community, and this is one of the things that the community has actually asked us for. They've said, we want places where our students and our young people can go to participate in healthy, wonderful activities, get together, and do meaningful things. So we are open from dawn to dusk. That being said, we do not allow any alcohol or drugs on our school campuses at any time. It doesn't matter when that is. The process for the community is, if you have a complaint, if you feel that people, any kind of people, are creating a nuisance or doing something illegal at one of our facilities after hours, that would be after dusk, the thing to do is to call the police. It is not a school matter at that point. It is a police matter. So I discussed this with with Dr. Hamilton last week, and I discussed this with Mr. Policio tonight, and we are going to produce signs and signage for every facility that will be well-placed, that will indicate what the rules are. Open from dawn to dusk, no dogs, no drugs, no alcohol, no barbecues, no fires, no loud music, whatever, and then have a number if neighbors want to complain. So just to make sure people understand the difference between school property during the day and after hours. And I guess we'll also probably have, we don't allow random people on school campuses during school hours. And that goes without saying, but maybe we'll post to that effect too. So I guess we'll be looking at what the signage looks like, but we need to make it accessible and widely available, and I think also probably post it to the website so people understand, because I've gotten a number of calls from people in my community who, because I live near the high school, saying, hey, we'd love to play on the tennis courts. And I found out they can play on the tennis courts. So this is a wonderful thing, and we're sharing this. We are community schools, and we are sharing our facilities with the community. So we just need people to abide by the rules, and we will post them accordingly. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Madam President, before we get to the business at hand, you actually just reminded me of something on that note.
Sure.
Related to the Grimes Annex.
Yes.
So I shared with the board over the weekend, we have been directed by the state to demo or rehab the Grimes Annex. Effectively, we can't leave it like it is. And we were prepared to present a resolution to you this evening that would declare it an emergency. We're advised by council that that is not the most effective way to go about this, but I would like to just bring you up to date on that project and keep you abreast on where we are relative to our plans and how we expect to respond to this mandate from the state. So I'm going to share my screen and ask Mr. Policio, if IT can give me access to share my screen, I'm going to ask Mr. Policio and Mr. Babiello and Mr. Silver to walk us through our conversation, walk the board through our conversation today regarding the Grimes Annex. And
Great.
Wrong presentation, sir.
Okay, here we go.
Uploaded, right?
There we go.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Next slide, right. So as we know, the Grimes Annex, to bring everybody up to speed, can you go back to the slide before that one, please? Yeah. So the Grimes Annex was originally the Mandela Alternative School, and many, many years ago. So approximately 2 decades ago, it was abandoned as a using facility that we use. So over the years, it has decayed, and it has come now to the attention of the state that we either have to make it usable and be able to obtain a certificate of occupancy, or we have to demolish the building. So as you can see, it is in disrepair, and the reason that it's in such disrepair is because it contains ACM, that's asbestos-containing material. It's throughout the building, so we really need to plan to demolish it. And so, next slide, please. So how much will this cost the community? So we went out to bid 2 times for this, once in August of 2019 and again in January of 2020. And the bids ranged from $750,000 to $1.4 million on the high end. And the soft costs, the architectural fees, are somewhere between $70,000 and $80,000. So we anticipate, because we have to go out to bid again, because it's been over a year since we went out, and the costs definitely have changed, and we're anticipating them to be slightly increased. And we will do that through our new architects, KG&D. Next slide, please. And it all fits into the 2020 vision. It was part of the original bond referendum. We do not need an additional resolution to perform the work. The board has already okayed it through the bond resolution. And the work is contemplated to be part of what we had already gone out to vote for. Mr. Silva?
So we've been advised by the state that the environmental impact statements that we've done from the past are valid. We've been advised in writing from our bond counsel that this is legitimate use of the contingency funds that remain from the bond. And we just have to go to the state and get a new building permit for bidding. And we may have to revise some of the drawings, but we don't think that's going to be much. With one architect taking over for another architect, they will want to examine the documents and make sure that everything is to their liking, since they will be responsible for the demolition as it moves forward. And we anticipate going out to bid as soon as the state will approve what we want to do, and that should be pretty quick. We don't think there'll be much time wasted for that, and we can get going on it.
Next slide.
So we do not, again, need this does not meet the criteria of an emergency because it has existed as an issue for several years now. The attorneys have advised us that it is not an effective or justified declaration to be an emergency when this has been on our radar for several years now. But we can make it a part of the bond project because it wasn't originally listed as such. So I just wanted to keep you up to date on that. Of course, we will advise you every step of the way when we get to the point where we're ready to act on this structure. But we have in writing from the state that we have to act on this.
Okay, so I had a question. We have enough money left over? Because I thought we might be considering using federal money, because this is a one-time,
So-
the federal money we've been granted.
So
can't
we,
use.
we do have to tell the state exactly how we're going to pay for that. That's required before we can get a permit.
Right.
We do not have any guidance from the feds or from the state as to how the federal money may be used. I did raise that question with the commissioner when we had a workshop on this subject. We are the only ones asking about demolishing a building, and to date, we have not yet received that guidance. So since we need to tell them something, we're going to tell them the bond. If the feds approve this in time for us to change that, we can change it. The state has said we can change the funding source should we be allowed to use the federal money for that. Absent that, we have contingency money in the bond sufficient to cover this, plus 2 items on the agenda tonight having to do with the pool and the library at the STEAM Academy, and with plenty left over for other contingencies that remain.
Okay, great. Anybody have any questions about this?
Yeah, this is Jeff. Now, when it comes to the bidding, and I know we spoke about this earlier when I first came here, as far as how do people from the community get involved in bidding for this situation?
Yeah, sure. It just like any of our other bids, it'll be published in our local newspaper, on our website. It'll be here at the district for anyone to bid on any of our work that we have here. However, I will say that this is a very unique project because we're going to do what's called a mass demolition. It contains so much ACM in the building and contaminations in the surrounding structure that very specialized people to do this type of work, where we would actually, instead of abating the building first, it all is part of the mass demolition. They kind of tent the building, remove the entire building, and cart it away, assuming that it's all ACM, that it's all asbestos-containing material. So it's very regulated at all levels, local, state, and federal levels. So again, if there is a Mount Vernon company or a local company that is capable of doing this work, we would welcome it with open arms.
Okay.
And we'll obviously, so the way we're going to approach this, Mr. Policio, is obviously to make sure that we are protecting the neighborhood. I mean, that's the reason why we have to do it this way. And we'll obviously have to do signage and communicate with the neighborhood and ask for their forbearance. But I know they want it gone because it's an eyesore and it has asbestos, but it's going to be a pain while it's being, how long, does anyone have any idea at this point how long it will take to complete the entire project? Or it's just speculation at this point, I guess?
I believe we're in the speculation point of that. Several months, I would imagine. The environmental regulations that are out there with constant monitoring, we will probably be protecting other properties around the building. Like, part of the job will be to protect, there is a house that's literally 20 feet from the property line. So that person's property will be protected at all levels, state, local, and federal level. The amount of regulation that goes into removing even an asbestos tile is enormous. The way we have to have containment, negative air, how it's constantly monitored 24 hours, inside and out, all kinds of monitoring of the air, both in and out. So yes, we are confident that we will protect the area and, of course, the school building, which is also 50 feet away.
Exactly. So we're going to have a lot of assurances on that. And then once the building's gone, the plan is to have some green space there, which the federal money could pay for, I believe.
Right. The plan after that has not been developed yet. It's only been ideas for it. But whatever we do, it's going to require a retaining wall because it's about 10 feet grade. So we'll have to build up the property even to have just play space. But that will have to be a separate project. We don't want to muddy this up. The project right now is just to demolish the building, and then we will make plans to do something else. We are not certain whether we might have to have a community vote on this. on what to do next, depending upon what the project entails when we decide.
Okay, well, thank you. We look
I'm
forward to
sorry,
receiving more updates.
Darcy, I'm sorry, I have a question. Candace?
Hi, Candace.
Hi. I'm just concerned because, as we all know, we don't see the effects of, asbestos contamination in children until years after. So I want to know what is the insurance that the community is going to have if, it's all nice, nice and dandy when it's happening. But what if within the next 10 years, we have children around the community or that lived in the community, they have developed asbestos poisoning, or adults that have developed asbestos poisoning? What reassurance are we giving them that they will be protected if that ever happens?
So there are guidelines, of course, but our specifications that are written in part by our attorneys deal with that, and we have done probably 50 asbestos projects since Mr. Policio and I have been here in 7 years, and we are very careful, very mindful. We don't let anybody touch anything. We will protect the community, as we have the children and adults in all of the schools through all of these years. We are very mindful of it. We are very knowledgeable on the subject, and we have a lot of outside consultants, engineers who will be involved in this project. This is not a regular demolition or construction. This is a whole different ballgame. And we will keep you apprised as we move along with the specifications and plans. We're happy to make a report to the board.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I have a question.
Yeah.
First of all, that's great news that we're enough on budget. Plus, with the federal money, we have actually multiple options of how to pay for this finally, because we've known for years that it needed to come down. We've known for years the extent and scope of work that would be required to do the demolition. That's why we postponed it for so long. If it was a regular demolition, then we could just go in with a wrecking ball and do it in a week. It would have been done years ago. But the amount of work is so extensive when you have a building of this. For what it's worth, I used to be an environmental lawyer, so right, every building built before 1978 has asbestos in it. Every single building. But there's different kinds of asbestos. It's put in different places. It's used in different ways. Some buildings use it a whole lot. Some used it a little bit. In some cases, it's really easy to remove, and it's just like a layer that you take off and you're done. And in some cases, it's literally integrated into the walls of the building. And this is one of those kinds of buildings where you can't really be separated easily. The legal term is called friable, right? Friable asbestos is easy to remove. This is not that kind. So anyway, that's great. I'm glad that the circumstances have aligned themselves that when at the 11th hour when we really can't put it off any longer, we can finally get it done. My specific question is for our benefit and for the benefit of the community. Can you explain why the heck we need architects when you are tearing down a building? Because everybody understands why you need architects to build a building, but can you explain to us why we have to spend money on architects to take down a building?
Just like erecting a building, the actual demolishing of a building is done by scope and plans. We need an environmental engineer, environmental experts, and the architect. So in order for any plan or any project to go through the state, it needs architectural review. And in order for us to get the state funding or reimbursement or aid, then the architects have to sign off on it. Part of, as you see everywhere, to build something, you must demolish something. If they demolish buildings in the middle of a city and they just drop it in place, that clearly can't be on the hands of the contractor or the demolition experts. So we get the specific plans on how things are removed, when they're removed, where they go, who can touch them, who can see them, who can do all those things, and that's done through the architectural review. And the state has a big architectural review process.
So one other thing is that this will be aidable as part of our bond funds. What we don't know is whether it'll be over 15 years like construction is, or whether it'll be in a different way. So that still remains to be seen from the state.
And I'll add one more thing. So what you get with the architectural plans also is not only the plan, you get the construction administration as it's happening. It's not the construction management, but it's the administration to make sure that all of this stuff is followed right to the letter, as Trustee Sorensen had brought up.
So the destruction as opposed to the construction.
Right.
Absolutely.
Thanks for that clarification. Do we have an anticipated time frame? Is this happening over the summer? Is it over the fall? Like next year? When is this actually happening?
So SED, I know pre-COVID had a 15-week architectural review lead time. I think it's a little bit less, and it may be less on the demolition side. So we will, as soon as we get the okay from the state and we get the secret resolution out there and we do everything that we need for the environmental impact, we will be in there and taking it out of there. The state is, because they're mandating it, they may push this to the front of the line, I would imagine.
One would think.
Yeah, that's the hope anyway.
Well, one would hope. I mean, it'd be great to do this
During
when
the
school is
summer.
not in session.
Yes.
Right?
So yes, I mean, ideally, we would do it in the summer. Now, we're really close to summer,
Yep.
so
Yep.
we'll keep you abreast, well, through the superintendent, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hamilton. Anything else before we move on to the agenda? Okay. We'll move on to our agenda for this evening. I need a motion to approve Human Resources Resolution 4.1.
Motion.
Any questions about these resolutions? Okay, there being none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve Human Resources Resolution 4.2, K-4 Curriculum Writing Team at Trapphagen?
Approve.
Second.
Any questions about this initiative?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just, Dr. Hamilton or whoever, or Dr. Gorman maybe, remind us, so is this a unique thing, or is this the typical summer curriculum development at every school? What's the context for this?
Dr. Hamilton, may I?
Sure, please.
So as you know, we actually have a curriculum and education meeting scheduled on June 10th, where we're going to give you a complete overview of the unique curriculum writing process that will happen this summer. This specific curriculum writing project is based on writing, which has been an identified area of weakness in the district. We don't have a legitimate writing program yet, so these units of study in conjunction with the Office of Curriculum and Instruction are going to be used uniquely and piloted at Trapphagen and shared as best practices throughout the district, and hopefully will lead to better curriculum development in the concept of writing. And so that is a coordinated effort to use those. And the parallel I want to bring to you is similar to the robotics program, which Trapphagen piloted for 1 year. So they reached out to us and said, this is what we're looking to do using the formats that we've used and the areas of weakness that they've designated, and we're going to support them and help them in that process.
So I'm all for pilot programs. We've done them with great success at various schools. I'm just curious, how was Trapphagen chosen? Was that their initiative? Was it you wanted to use them? How is that happening?
Yeah, they reached out to us.
Okay.
And that goes in conjunction with Dr. Hamilton's MFR process, looking at data, identifying areas of weakness and growth, and something that they are spearheading and collectively are embracing, and we are supporting it at the curriculum office as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. I'm very excited about this, Dr. Gorman, because I know with Star Scholars, we offer, one of the things we started offering in addition to SAT and ACT prep and stuff like that is writing. Because when it comes time to writing that college essay, it's hard. So it's something that we offer, and I think it's great to get it started early. May I have a motion to approve Human Resources Resolution 4.3? This is the IB Summer Bridge Program that Dr. Gorman just explained to us.
Motion.
Any further questions on this?
Yeah, just one additional question I had. I mean, thanks for the explanation earlier, but is this, So is it the understanding that this will not be needed every year, or this is something that will be an ongoing thing every year for just one class or two classes, or what are you thinking?
It depends how many people are going towards the diploma program and their application process. Specifically, this first class we think is really important to have that support. My assumption is as we groom kids and build a feeder program for the IB program, they'll come in with a deeper skill set. The 4,000-word essay, though, is, for lack of better words, a bear that I've been, that I've experienced in my other studies. That it's a very extensive process, and it does need the support of adults to go above and beyond with the kids. It's not something you could just blow out in the middle of a school year. Tentatively, yes, but I cannot guarantee. We would take a look at our results after this summer as well.
Right. I mean, my understanding of, the IB program, once it's up and running for years and well established, and you have the whole system kind of in place, it's designed to be the normal school year. It's not designed to take and require extra work and extra tutoring and overtime and all that stuff. That's not what it's designed for. But I appreciate and understand that this is a very new thing in a new school district, and it'll take a little extra work at the beginning to get it up and running.
Okay, any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion carries. May I have a motion to approve Business Office Resolution 5.1?
Motion.
Any questions about these resolutions?
Yes, I'm sorry. Item number 10, authorization to use 2020 vision, bond vision funds to cover the deficit for the A.B. Davis Library Emergency Project. Can somebody explain, please?
It's the part that insurance didn't cover.
There was also backup for this and the cafeteria resolution. So when we constructed the budget, we had these two resolutions in it, the cafeteria overage and the library overage in the budget. But in trying to have the budget not go up any higher, we had to pull them out, and we are able to use bond funds because this was part of the original bond vote talking about renovations and so on in the various buildings. And so it was appropriate to use these at the STEAM library. You may remember we had a flood a number of years ago, and the cost of the renovations exceeded the amount of money we got from the insurance, and this is to cover that overage using bond funds for that, which will be aidable. And in the cafeteria, we did not have sufficient funds to cover the cost of the renovation of the cafeteria, and this bond money covers that and will also be aidable.
Are you talking about the pool? You mean the pool, not the cafeteria?
I'm sorry, the pool, yes.
Place where you swim versus where you eat. Okay. Any other questions?
I do. You can stay up there, Ken. Thank you for reminding us. I mean, we always knew at the beginning of the bond there would be a number of these items once we got to the end of the bond to figure out once the final numbers come in. As we're starting the process of getting those final numbers, now we can sort out some of the accounting issues of these old projects. I'm going to ask you, I think you know what I'm going to say, number 12. Can you explain why this employment contract is being put up to us now, even though it's backdated to January 1?
Can you tell me what that is?
Transportation consultant.
Oh, the transportation consultant. Yes. So, you and I have discussed this.
Yes, we have.
Offline. So, contracts previously had been done in a different way when we had our own in-house attorney. And our outside counsel, Ingerman Smith, is not comfortable with the process being done the way it was done. And so they want these people, and the next item as well, Alicia Glover, to be as part-time employees rather than as an outside consultant. This process took a long time to get done, obviously, since she started working for us in January, and here we are in June, and we're approving this back to January, as we did Maria Carlos at the last agenda when you pointed out the length of time it took to get to that. So here we are with that. She has worked from January through May without having gotten 1 cent to help to train our new transportation person. I would also tell you that there used to be in excess of 2 people in that department, possibly 2 people plus a per diem, and now there's 1 person running that. And because of COVID, we were not able to do the appropriate training in person, and our transportation, as you know, is almost 100 buses every day. And it is very complicated, and Mary is helping us through June, and she'll be done at the end of June, to get our program right and to train the new person.
We thank Ms. Danielle for helping the district for so long without a contract. Thank you very much. I'm glad we can finally pay you, and we will work with the administration and the attorneys to have this not be a problem going forward. Thank you, Ms. Danielle.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions on Business Office Resolution 5.1 and all its component parts? Notwithstanding that there is no cafeteria. No, only kidding. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve Business Office Resolution 5.2 for this class trip?
Second.
Any questions?
I had a question. Did you? Okay. I'm 1,000% in favor of celebrating our inaugural 8th grade graduating class. It's awesome. I just wanted to clarify in terms of the district cost for this, that this was a school-led decision about how to use their field trip funds, and not an extra allocation asked for the district, because traditionally, I don't think it's an official policy, but traditionally we have an unofficial policy of having graduation trips paid for by the students and staff and PTA and other sources outside, not outside funds. That's my understanding anyway. Which I think is the case here. I just want to confirm that.
Yes, they took it out of their field trip fund specifically at Park, and it was only for the buses.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank you. I thought I was answering you and I was on mute, sorry.
Oh, we did that to you. Only kidding. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, sorry.
I had a question.
TJ had a question.
Sorry.
She had a question too.
Will the students be swimming?
I have no idea. Will the students be swimming?
Okay. I only ask because some people go to Holiday Hills and they say that the students can't swim, and then some individuals say that they can swim. So just wanted to make sure that that was clear when the students go up to Holiday Hill.
Okay, so
That's the first 2
Yeah,
pictures that you see.
there's lots of swimming there.
That's the place right there.
Yeah.
do we have assurances that these students are vetted for swimming ability before they go in the water?
But I think they have lifeguards
Yeah, but still.
on site.
Right. So if the students are gonna go swimming, then the staff also have to be ready to be in the pool as well. So just dot that I and cross all the T's.
Got it. Okay. Good point, thank you. Any other questions? So are we okay with approving this tonight? We're okay with voting? Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Wanted a motion and second.
All right, may I have a motion to approve School Improvement Resolution 6.1?
Motion.
I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, this is the Smart Scholar Summer
yeah,
Bridge
okay.
program we discussed earlier.
Yes.
Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve Student Services Resolution 7.1?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. May I have a motion to approve Student Services Resolution 7.2?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions about this
Yeah.
work?
I actually do have one question, though.
Okay.
So I understand that Mount Vernon High School has many more students than the other two, but how come, I would assume that the population is pretty much the same for STEAM versus the Performing Arts Academy? So why is there 3 for one and 1 for the other? Can that one person do everything that the Performing Arts Academy needs?
So who,
Dr. Smith, we talked about this in our prep meeting today. Dr. Smith, if you'll respond to this from Trustee Patterson, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
Basically, at Denzel Washington, there's one counselor that serves grades 9 to 12 due to their enrollment. And Mount Vernon High School has 7 counselors. And right now, STEAM has 2.5 that serves grades 9 to 12.
So that one,
At this tab will be that we'll be updating this. We actually put that in the abstract because my question is, how do we know that we need as many counselors for 7 hours based on this unknown variable of how well students do in summer school, who attend summer school, whose schedules need adjusting. So we may, not all of these people may be utilized, and they may not all be utilized for the full 7 hours for 5 days. So I actually asked the cabinet to update the abstract on this so that it would reflect the potential change in underutilizing this or redistributing some of these. To your point, if Mount Vernon has a less need based on summer school schedules or schedules that need to be changed, perhaps 1 or 2 of them can be reassigned to Denzel Washington to support that counselor.
okay.
it does say maximum hours, so.
No, I was just concerned about workload, that my
Yeah.
understanding is population of STEAM versus population of the performing arts is not that disparate to justify even 2.5 to 1.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure that that one could that we weren't setting
Yeah.
somebody up to not,
Got it.
And the number of students that will be attending summer school, who need to attend summer school, is drastically different between the 2 sites as well.
Okay.
So it's
Thank you.
based on student participation?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And other factors, summer school, tweaking schedules, new admissions coming into the district. It's several factors.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve Superintendent Resolution 9.1?
Motion.
Second.
Does anyone have any questions about these matters? I think we've discussed them pretty exhaustively, but if anyone has any questions? No? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motions carry.
Can I just make a quick comment, President?
Yes.
And just a reminder to all, I've said this before, and I'll say it today, and I'll say it in the future, it applies to all agreements and settlements with members of the staff. We cannot discuss them publicly, privately, individually, at board meetings or otherwise. Just a reminder.
Thank you. Okay, the board, motion to approve Board of Ed Resolution 10.1. This is the adoption of our calendars. Everyone had a chance to look at it. It basically is following our Tuesday, every other Tuesday format with tweaks for holidays, et cetera. Mr. McCormick has put this together and worked obviously with, the team has worked with educators. Is everybody familiar with this? I have a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, we have a calendar. And just, we know our last official board meeting of this fiscal year is June 15th, so we hope everyone can endeavor to try to be there. And then our reorg meeting is July 6th. All right, may I have a motion to approve Resolution 10.2, acceptance of minutes from 5/18?
Motion.
Second.
Go team.
Nice job. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? May I have a motion to approve the minutes from, Resolution 10.3, the minutes from May 25th?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you, Trustee Turnquist Jones. Great, okay, great. Guess what? That's the agenda. But I just, like, for new business, just to what I mentioned earlier, just to make it clear to the community, because I did see some postings on Facebook today from different people about Trustee Crump's resignation, which is effective this evening, which does leave an open seat. I just wanted to explain to the public what our options are. We don't have to do anything. We've been functioning because Trustee Crump had been on a leave of absence for several months, which the board did grant her. We have functioned very well with only 8 members, but we are a 9-member body, and in the event that we would come to any kind of tie break, we definitely need nine members. So our options are to appoint someone, to appoint someone to take the 4th highest vote getter, or obviously we have the option to do nothing. I just wanted to know if anyone had any concerns or comments about that. I wanted to also give Trustee McOwen a chance to comment on his status, since he will be ending his term June 30th at this point.
It's very open-ended. Are you?
Oh.
Are you
Over to you, Micah.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Technically, just because I'm the policy nerd, technically we could also call a special election.
Oh, how much would that
Technically, we
cost?
could. Which is a terrible idea. We should not do it. That would cost a huge amount of money. It's been an honor to serve on the board for 6 years. I ran because I'm interested in continuing to serve the community and help as much as I can, and I'm willing to continue to serve. That's why I ran. If people are interested in having me do that, I think that's all I got to say right now.
I'm sorry, I know that I might be out of line, but I do believe that the board should consider keeping Micah on board. He is a very important member. And like I said, I may be out of line, but I just want to put that little seed out there.
Thank you, Candace.
Right now, we really can't do anything because Micah is still a board member until June 30th.
We can actually do anything we want. We spoke to Gus today. We can vote at any time. We can vote to have him take over Trustee Crump's seat as of July 1st. But he would stay in his seat until then. So we can vote on that now. We don't have to wait to vote on that. We can vote on that at any time, according to our attorneys. Yeah, that's an update, just because I was trying to clarify for Trustee McOwen.
I thought we had to wait.
Nope, there's no reason to wait. We checked the school law.
So, we getting ready to vote?
I was
Well, we-
gonna say, like, I know I cannot make a motion or anything, but.
So are we getting?
Well, no, I mean,
Dr.
if the board, so here's the thing, if the board wants to vote, we can vote. It's a very simple vote. It's basically would be it would be voting to have trustee McOwen assume trustee Crump's seat as of July 1st, which would be for a one-year term, and he would have to run for re-election next year. That's it,
Until the next election.
until the next election.
Next election.
Right. So, I mean, it's up to the board if they want to vote now or wait till the 15th or whatever, but there's no reason to wait if that's what the board wants to do. So I'm just putting it out there for you.
Let's go.
What did you just say?
So let's go.
Let's go. You want to vote?
Yes.
Okay. Do we need a resolution before we vote? Okay, Mr. McCormick is putting together a resolution.
It was not planned for tonight. But
No, I just
writing
wanted
it
to
up.
make it clear to everybody what we could do, what we can't do. And it's not my decision, it's the board's decision. Whether you want to vote, if the board wants to vote, then we will vote, if that's the board's wish.
All right, we get that. We're ready to vote. Don't whisper at me.
It would be it resolved that this Board of Education hereby appoints trustee Micah McOwen.
Are you on? Is your mic on?
Nope.
I can't hear you.
The board would be voting on a resolution. Be it resolved that this Board of Education hereby appoints trustee Micah McOwen to fill the unexpired term of trustee Brenda L. Crump, effective July 1st, 2021 through May 17th, 2022, which is the date of the next election.
It's not the unexpired portion of her term, though,
No, it's just a year.
right?
I can add that.
No, it's just,
No,
it's just a year. That's not the, no.
Oh, yeah, no, that's correct. It's not
just
the
one.
unexpired.
It's just
It doesn't
1
say
year,
unexpired term.
because she has 2 years, she had 2 years left. It's just 1 year.
Should the person who is elected, whoever comes in with the fourth highest amount of votes at the next election will then fill the unexpired term of trustee Crump. So they will take office effective the day after the election through June 30th of 2023.
And it's also confusing. Anyway, so if the board wants to vote on this now, that's fine. We have a potential resolution. We just need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Red, aye? Aye?
Aye.
Aye? Aye, aye, aye. Okay. The motion carries.
Wait, I still have to abstain.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, let's,
I could
what
say
about the
no.
nose?
I
What about
could
the
say no.
nose? That's right, I forgot. You're not allowed. The nose
That would be pretty funny if I said
and,
no,
and the
and I'd get outvoted on
He
myself.
abstains.
I abstain.
Okay, so the motion carries, and I am very happy about this because, I mean, it's not my decision, but I do feel very strongly that we have a very, very effective team. And I think continuity is serving this community and this school district very well. And I think just keeping it going, keeping the good things going that we have going, and refining and continuing to hone our skills as board members and to learn from our experiences is really important, so. And I appreciate your willingness, Trustee McOwen, to step in and continue to serve.
Thank you, and I really, truly appreciate the vote of confidence from my fellow trustees and Trustee Sorensen-elect. Thank you. I have now been on this board, most of the time I've lived in Mount Vernon, and I will, whether I serve for one more year or never again, or 10 more years, or whatever, it's been an honor and an experience I will never forget, and it has tied me to this community in a way that I could never have achieved a different way. And I will always be grateful for that, for my own sake and for the sake of my family.
Great, thank you. Is there any other business that anyone would like to raise for this evening, or are we?
I got stuff.
Oh.
I got stuff.
Wait a minute, we take back the vote. Forget about that vote.
Get those things down.
I didn't say that some of us drive each other nuts, but we love each other, and we all have a very important role. Oh, now we're passing out the Elmos.
Wait,
Here
before
we
she
go.
gets the Elmo. Before she
Here
gets
come the Elmos.
Dr. Hamilton, what is going on with the pool? Can we get an update, please? When can people go swimming?
Wanda needs her Elmo.
You're on mute, sir.
Dr. Gorman and Mr. Comicio, if you can facilitate the update on this for me, I would appreciate it. That has, I know we reached out to Dr. Gorman and Mr. Comicio, please.
I'm gonna buy one.
Yep, second I have it right in front of me.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay, we have pool operating hours for June, July, and August. Mondays,
Dr. Gorman, can you go to the mic, please?
Yes, of course.
And I have to go steal my back.
I spoke to Mr. Gonzalez today in anticipation of your question tonight. And he said, so a couple of things. There's been training. We have 3 lifeguards that are certified and trained. There's others that have to go through the intake process that are being certified, so we just have to process them as well. We'll have open swim basically throughout the summer from June 7th through August 14th, with pool maintenance and weekly maintenance of 3 hours, 5 to 8 p.m. for lap lanes and open swim, 5 to 8 p.m. and 9 to 12 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. And what I'll do is I will take this information, share it with Rick, and we'll get it on the website ASAP.
And we have the three lifeguards is enough to staff that?
No, we have additional ones that are now just have to be processed on intake.
Okay.
That's why we're waiting a little
And
bit longer.
do you with COVID restrictions, what is it going to look like? Like, is there a small cap? Do we have people have to register in advance? Are we doing contact tracing? I just don't know where any of that stands. So what's it gonna look like when people come to use the pool on a Saturday morning?
I don't have all the procedures right in front of me, but I will clearly get them for you and make them available. I do know that we're going to keep the same $5 charge for individual, $10 for families, but we'll give you a whole write-up on all COVID procedures and maintenance.
Do people have to be vaccinated to swim?
Oh, little guys can't.
I do not believe that is a requirement.
Okay.
Do we have any program? Are we going to have any programs like the Mommy and Me Swim and the different programs that we had during the year? I mean, before COVID?
Right now, we just have the open swim piece because it was so hard to coordinate because the rules are changing so much. It really comes down to staffing. Right now, we will put in for an administrator, an aquatic advisor, substitutes, summer pool maintenance staffing, lifeguards, and safety officers. So at this point, I don't have those other programs in place yet.
Because we used to do swimming lessons for the kids, certain ages.
Yeah, we had private lessons as well for that as well, but we do not have that in place because it's been so choppy in getting those procedures in place.
Does it look like we're going to get them before the summer?
I do not, I don't want
I think
to
we
tell
could
you
be-
something that I don't have for you.
I think we have to be hopeful that we'll resume to normal in the fall. You know, we know this has been a trying time for everybody, and so hopefully we can get it all set for the fall.
Will the people have to make reservations, or they just show up? Will they have to make reservations, or they just show up?
No, you can just show up.
So I'm thinking maybe in addition to putting it on the website, we might want to put out just a one-page flyer or something like that, because there is such a huge interest in utilizing the pool. So maybe, Mr. McCormick, we do just a simple one-page flyer after we get our credit from the post office for not delivering all the newsletters. We'll be able to afford to pay for that and get that out to the community at large.
Well, this is also one of those opportunities where we can go back to the city and go to the Department of Recreation, as Trustee Turnquist Jones and I have
Yes.
spoken ad nauseum, and we can provide this back to them and say, hey, listen, this is what we're doing.
Mhm.
So now we're all on the same page as to what's happening. And I think that going forward, I think one of the big focuses we really should be ensuring, and I know that it's been said once already, is making sure that we have the classes coming back at some point. Because I think it's imperative there are, if I'm not mistaken, there are no other pools that the public can access in Mount Vernon. So we need our kids to learn how to swim. My kids have to learn how to swim. So,
I was gonna, two things. Number one, I'm a bit concerned about the fact that the people are not gonna make reservations, so the social distancing and the numbers, allowed into the pool. And within the COVID, the kids or families will be allowed to use the lockers, because I know there are other pools in other places that kids are not allowed to get dressed in the lockers because of COVID in families. They just have to come and leave as they come. But I'm really concerned at the fact that we do not have a system in place in which people have to reserve a lane to swim, because we may have X number amount of people coming in expecting to have access to it, and we may be overcrowded. That's my first concern. And this one is just a question, and it's more because it is more a selfish question, because I know that my son's swim team has been trying to rent the pool to practice here in Mount Vernon. Is that something that Mount Vernon, it will be taken into consideration to bring extra revenue to keep the pool going?
Yeah, we always serve hours first as well, and then we cost analysis out, and we have specific meetings. A lot of that comes with the cost of security, facilities, staffing, and so the one or two times that we've had those conversations, it actually wasn't worth it to the district. It was almost a loss for the district at that point. But to get to your point about all the procedures, I can have a presentation on the 15th for those procedures as well, as a board resolution for you. So even though I'm seeing that we had a tentative schedule for the 7th, I believe that it should go on the 15th as a resolution should accompany it as well for the staff.
Thank you. Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
That'll be great.
Trustee Sorensen, if you have, whoever this group is, you can have them send me, just send a request to me so that it's on our radar, and we can begin to look at whether or not it's something we can work out and schedule around the parameters for the pool based on guidance on capacity and restrictions that we have to implement.
I will do so, Superintendent, because one of the things that I presented to her when she, asked me about the pool was that if she is willing to, lower the cost for the community, because it is a Westchester pool, and she does train Olympic swimmers. So I wanted her to lower the price for our children so they could learn how to swim. And it's a great, not because my son is in it, but it's a great team. And so I will tell her to forward you the information, and hopefully something could be done for our children to learn how to swim with good people.
Very good. I'll be on the lookout. Thank you.
Will do.
Great.
Thanks to you.
Okay, Trustee McOwen.
I got two more. One is I just wanted to make a comment about, I meant to say this earlier when we were talking about the facilities and using the fields and walking areas and everything. This has been an ongoing discussion for years. We had talked about it a lot when we did the Graham remodel. And should we lock it up? Should we leave it open? How should we handle this? And ultimately, the decision was to keep it open and for the community, and that's the right decision. But the community, it's a two-way street, right? It's a partnership we have with the greater community, but it only works if the school's grounds are not abused.
Right.
So it's mutual respect. We respect the community. We want the community to use our facilities, but they got to respect them, and they got to follow the rules. And one thing in particular that is a constant issue is organized sports, group sports, people, especially groups from outside of Mount Vernon, coming in to use our fields, which is an issue. And so, listen, if you want to go pick up basketball with your friends, have at it. Have a great time. You want to walk the track after dawn on a weekend, be my guest. If you want to organize a league, or you want to teach, organize lessons and get paid money to use our facilities to teach a sport, things like this happen, that is not okay without a permit. You have to come through the proper channels, get a permit, so that we know you have insurance. Because what we don't want to do is somebody get hurt on our fields and have a lawsuit, and then everybody loses, right? Because then we got to lock up the fields, and everyone's unhappy, and tax dollars go up, and nobody wins there, right? So please work with us. We have great property, and it's your property, community. It belongs to you, but we got to use it in the right way. Come get a permit, go through the right channels, get your insurance, and then have a great time. So I just wanted to remind everybody that's how it's supposed to work. And last thing is just a question for the trustees. It's graduation time, right? So like every school is doing a million different graduation events. President Miller, do you want or need to assign us to participate? Should we just do as much as we can to be at different events? We haven't really had that conversation, which we often do at the end of the year.
Right. Well, I guess because
A lot of them are Zoom, right?
a lot of them
just on
are Zoom. Tomorrow I'll be participating in the STEAM High School Convocation, which is Zoom. Rick McCormick sent us all the link to that. We're all invited to participate in that. And, it's, as Trustee Forson said, it's awards. Yeah, it's awards. This is graduating class from STEAM. So, yes, and there is, if in the Weekly Confidential, Dr. Hamilton listed all the events at every school.
Yep.
And we know that some of us have kind of adopted schools, so you should endeavor to participate in your school's whatever graduation it is. We've got pre-K graduate, we've got moving up all over the place, and we've got, so we got to give our props to the pre-K kids. So, we've got a lot. So if you refer to the Weekly Confidential, and if you think you can't make an event at the building that you have adopted, then please reach out to other trustees to see if they might be able to. I'm planning on attending, all the high school events, but let's just try to coordinate and see if we can divide and conquer and support the students the way they need to be supported. But we do have the list of everything that's happening, and it's crazy. The last couple of weeks of June, unless the last 3 weeks, well, the month of June is going to be very, very busy, as always. Oh, also, I wanted to give if it's okay, I wanted to mention the Pta Scholarship Picnic is on June 10th. You can still buy seats, a picnic table. The menu looks great. I selected my food for the table I bought, but I just want to encourage people. We always have such a great time at the PTA dinner dance. This is going to be different. It's a picnic, but it is on June 10th with a rain date, June 12th. So if anyone wants to buy a seat or buy a table, please reach out to Mr. McCormick to get the information on it. Anything else?
I just wanted to say one thing about Trustee Crump's resignation at last week was not scheduled. We did not have advance notice that she was going to resign effective at the last meeting. So I feel like we never got the chance to publicly thank her and give her props. So I've done that privately already, but I wanted to just publicly thank Trustee Crump for, and I would have said this regardless of what just happened. I meant to say this earlier with my term, but Trustee Crump has always been a role model for me. She was one of the first names synonymous with education, empowerment in Mount Vernon that I ever met. And she has a long legacy, long before she was a trustee this most recent time, of helping students and parents in this district. And that legacy is in no way whatsoever lessened or tarnished at all by her resignation. We honor her and just are so grateful for her service, and she's a rock star.
Yeah. Here.
Agreed.
She's done a great job. Well, she also said she knows where we all live, so she was very clear about that. She's not going away, so we know we will hear from her, and she will keep us honest. One thing I just wanted to mention real quick, and then we can have a motion to adjourn, is I just got a text from someone who's obviously watching our meeting. Yay, we have viewers. The outside soccer teams are on the Graham soccer field now, this evening. The abuse is from the outside. No one from the school district intervenes. Well, that's because it's not a school district matter at this point, or am I wrong about that, Dr. Hamilton?
It's dusk. Call the police.
Yeah, you can call the police.
Call the police.
You're absolutely correct, because when we get those calls, all we do is turn around and call the police, and the community can do that independent of us. I get their concerns, legitimate concerns, but we don't have round-the-clock security or patrol vehicles, so all we can do is call the police and ask them to come and escort people off the premises, which they generally do, and sometimes they return as soon as the police are gone. But please, to our community members, please call the police and report your concerns to them.
Great.
Yeah, after dusk, they are trespassing.
Right.
That's legally what's happening.
Bottom line.
But the
Yeah.
people are complaining about them next to the school, not on school grounds, because once they finish playing soccer, they congregate right there by the school. There'd be like 30 or 40 of them out there.
Yeah, so it's a
Every day.
Unfortunately, it's a police matter.
Right.
And we have to view it as such, and this is, it's where it gets very blurry between school and city and all that, but we have law enforcement for a reason. And hopefully, when we put up all this signage, hopefully, maybe by the 15th, Mr. Policia, we can have an update on the signage and how much it'll cost, and when we can have it done. I would really like it to be put up definitely by the fall at every building. So I think we can probably afford it. So I just think it's important, and then everyone's forewarned about what the process is. And I'm sorry we have to do this, but it is what it is. We all, once again, as Trustee McGowan said, we're all in this community together.
I was
I'm
concerned.
currently-
I'm sorry, because I said during the election, I was very concerned because I didn't know if it was because we rented to the Eastchester Flag Football League, the little kids, but they were coming. They had a full practice in Traphagen, so I didn't know. I was just I'm learning the ropes. So I was like, well, okay, we're renting the fields. That's pretty cool. We're bringing money into the school, and now I'm learning that this may not be the case. And also a couple of community members from Traphagen were saying the same thing, that people are gathering at nighttime and even selling drugs in the Traphagen field. So, and there was a gentleman, as a matter of fact, also your wife was telling me, there was one time a gentleman living within the bushes at Traphagen.
Mm-hmm. Well, so this is, once again, this is a police matter, so we all now know what to tell our neighbors when they call, but we would like to, one of the reasons we're kind of making this announcement at a public meeting is so that our administrators who have worked tirelessly all year and all week, and us also the board members who work tirelessly all week, most weeks, that we don't get the calls on the weekend for things that are out of our control, that the calls go directly to the police.
So I am currently in classes with the Mount Vernon Police Department. And one of the things that I started off by saying earlier was, how do we connect the arteries And so one way of connecting the arteries is where we have the conversation with the police department as to, you know, things that are taking place. We have one of our city council members, his name is Derek, and
Right.
Derek goes on community drives. But I will make sure that I have a conversation. In fact, tomorrow, I don't know if anybody here has yet been a part of or taken any of the classes that the police department gives, but I suggest that you take it. It is really mind-opening. Tomorrow, I am doing a drive. I think the drive starts like around 5 o'clock because they want it to start and then us to see Mount Vernon from daylight to sunset. And so they're going to show us different things. And I will bring that up to them. And then I think that we should make sure that we keep that part of the artery connected so that they can also tell us some things that we don't know what's going on. Because if you call
Absolutely.
me at 8 o'clock, I'm going to be in the bed. And, you know,
Right.
with the pajamas on. I know you don't want me to come down to
I
Graham
hear you.
Elementary School in my pajamas and talk to the football team about what's
hear you.
going on. But yeah, so just, you know, we have to make sure that we keep the arteries connected and let individuals know what's going on, and they can also let us know what's going on.
So Dr. Hamilton and Mr. Policio, as part of the sign initiative, let's make sure that we communicate what we're doing with the police department and the city government so they understand exactly what we're doing.
And I do think, like, if people in the community see this happening, please call the police, because what you're looking at is trespassing. It's the same as if somebody was having a party in your backyard without being invited. But I think they should let us know too. Like, do let us know that it's happening, especially if it's something that's happening regularly at a regular time every
Not
day,
at 10
every week,
o'clock on a Saturday night.
or whatever. Let us know so that we can work with the police department too, because we have to find a solution to this. I mean, what we don't have is we don't have the staff to go patrolling all 17 buildings every single day at dawn and dusk, and we don't have the staff to do that. It's not reasonable to expect.
You mean from dusk till dawn?
Right.
Well, I also think that when you're talking about a particular group, if there is some type of designation, i.e., Trustee-elect Sorensen said that she saw East Chester football. Well, that's a group that we can then go to directly.
We need to write them a letter.
We can say, hey, listen, cease and desist, you don't have authority or the right to be here, therefore you are not allowed. And that is a very confrontational way to handle the situation. And it also, again, keeps everything very civil.
Yes. I mean,
I think that's the goal.
Please come. Just fill out the permit and give the insurance, and then you can come. Sure.
Correct.
Right.
Please come pay our permit
So
fee.
there are paths forward. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hamilton.